Okay, so out of curiosity, I read Justice League versus Suicide Squad #1, which is the first, I guess you could say, big event for DC Rebirth. And I didn't really have a lot of big expectations for Justice League versus Suicide Squad. I was like, oh, whatever, it's, the Suicide Squad's totally outclassed, and it's just a cash grab, whatever. And I read it, and I realized, oh, not that bad. I read it and I was like, huh, this is not that bad of a start. I mean, granted, it could still go, the shit could still go colossally sideways throughout this. There's still 5 more parts, I've seen comics before that have really good starts and then it all just falls apart as the story goes on. But for right now, that first issue was actually pretty good. I actually kind of liked where this is going. So I will do some spoilers in here, so if you don't want to be spoiled, because the comic just came out like a day or so ago, a day or two ago, so if you don't want to be spoiled, just back out now. I'll give you guys a couple seconds. Okay, so if you're still here, I guess you want to be spoiled, or you've already read Justice League vs. Suicide Squad #1, and the story's pretty simple. The Justice League have discovered, they've discovered about the existence of the Suicide Squad, and they're going to put a stop to it. And not for the reasons you think. It's actually because the Justice League actually believes they want to help the villains. Because, well, one, they want to do it for 2 reasons. One, because, yeah, it's not right that that a Waller has these villains out in public again when they could get out and do some serious damage. 2, they want to actually help the villains. They actually, Batman and the other heroes are like, they may be bad guys, but they have a right as well. They have their rights as well, and Waller has no right to treat these people like soldiers. To treat these guys like, as expendable people. They're still they're still human beings in some degrees. They still have their own rights. So the Justice League, they, in a weird way, they're trying to help the Suicide Squad. They're trying to help these villains. But on the other end, Deadshot and the rest of the Suicide Squad are like, we don't want your help. I mean, yeah, it's nice that you're doing this for us, but where are you going to put us? Back in jail? We don't want that. We're working for Waller to get time out of prison. And if you stop this, you're just going to put us back in prison anyway. So this is what I like. Finally, we have a hero. Well, it's more like, first off, I like the concept better than what we've seen in Civil War II or in Humans vs. X-Men, where it's been heroes versus heroes and big superhero team fights. Here, it makes sense because one, it's a villain team technically, even though they're doing good stuff, but they're doing nasty shit to do so, and the reasons behind it actually make sense. It's not like, oh, one team just is being a dick, and the other one's just like, oh, we're not the assholes, even though we're just as bad. It's not like that at all. Because, like I said, the Justice League want to help them, but on the other end, the Suicide Squad's like, yeah, we don't want your help because you're just going to put us back in jail. And Waller, we hate her too. We hate this bitch, but she's giving us an out. Not a great one, but a good one. So, yeah, and right out the gate, you do see a fight between the Justice League and the Suicide Squad. And, yeah, the Suicide Squad knows full hand that they are vastly outmatched. They are ridiculously outclassed by the Justice League. But Deadshot says, yeah, but here's the difference between us and you. We're willing to go that extra mile. You have all this power, but you're not going to cross that line. So guess what? In that regard, we have the edge. And yeah, you know how, most comics have like this build up to the big fight? No, they fight right out the gate. The Justice League and Suicide Squad, they fight right out the gate. So, yeah, it gave us what it was promised. And then we cut to something even worse. We cut to Maxwell Lord, and he has put together villains literally worse than the Suicide. He's basically creating his own Suicide Squad. And what's interesting about this is that he is building a team of like pre-52 Lobo, the Emerald Empress from the Legion of Superheroes. And what's interesting about this is that Maxwell Lord says that, you're all villains from timelines that don't exist anymore. So it's kind of interesting that it looks like Maxwell Lord does know what he doesn't. He probably knows about Dr. Manhattan. There's a good chance he might know about Dr. Manhattan and, the whole New 52 universe and what it did to change it. Because all these villains, I don't want to spoil all the villains that show up in here, but the ones that do show up in this universe are all villains we've wanted to see or want to see the real versions of. And he said that you're all either forgotten or, you were misplaced. So you all work for me, and we're going to settle this. So, yeah. I find it interesting that it looks like Maxwell Lord and his group of villains are going to probably be the bigger enemy. It's kind of like that scene in, I can't help but think of Family Guy, and that whole thing of what Peter had in mind for a movie where it was like Bigger Jaws, where the shark from Jaws and the crew of the Orca have to team up to fight him. It's literally the Bigger Jaws. Oh, man. But yeah, I was surprised of how much I liked it. Granted, there's a few little hiccups here and there, but I actually like this very well. I like this a lot. I'm very curious to see where this could go as a story. But then again, I'm still kind of worried because there is still 5 more parts to this comic. So this could easily just completely fall in on itself throughout the next 5 issues. But yeah, this was a pretty solid first issue. Yeah, I was actually impressed of how well this first issue went. So I'm very curious to see where this kind of event is going to take place. I'm also happy that this is going to be pretty self-contained. This is going to be like a very self-contained story, so good on you, DC, for doing something like that. There may be several tie-ins, like minor tie-ins with Suicide Squad and Justice League, but for the most part, this is going to be, just going to be the effects for Suicide Squad and Justice League, and nothing too massively drastic. But yeah, I am very curious to see where they're going to go with this, especially, what they're doing with Maxwell Lord and his own team. Again, I don't want to spoil who else is on this team outside of Emerald Empress and Lobo. Pre-52 Lobo, not Final Fantasy fuckwit Lobo. But I assure you, you're going to be surprised of who else is on that team. But yeah, and I like how this writer is putting it like, yeah, the Suicide Squad knows they have a snowball's chance in hell against, taking on the entire Justice League. But on the other end of the spectrum, they're like, yeah, but we kill, you don't. So, I like that, and I'm very curious to see where this is going to go now. So, good on you. Good on you, Justice League versus Suicide Squad. I really like where this comic is going. But yeah, you guys tell me if you've read Justice League vs. Suicide Squad. What did you guys think of it? Just comment below, let me know. Once again, hope you all enjoyed this, and I will see you guys later.